getting signed, almost quitting music, and how God restored it all. Today we got Ty Brasel. Don't you go anywhere. Hey, yo, what's going on? It's your man, Ruslan with KingsDreamENT.com. This channel exists to encourage, empower, inspire you to live out God's dream for your life. If you're new here, consider hitting that subscribe button, turn that notification bell on so you don't miss a thing. And of course, I got to send a big shout out to all the Patreon. Patreon is a way you can monthly support this channel and everything we're doing here at King's Dream. Keep the lights on, keep fly interviews coming, all that good stuff. And here's the deal. The people on Patreon get the full interview first while you guys get them broken up. So if you want to see the full interview, consider hopping on Patreon. But without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I got the man, the myth, the legend, Young T, Uncle T, Mr. Ty Brasel. How you feeling?
What up, my man? What's going on?
Chilling, man. You in Cali.
I'm in Cali.
You're in the studio.
In the studio.
In the studio. That means we friends in real life.
Yes, sir.
We just finished having some eggs, some kale,
some blueberries.
Some blueberries. You didn't like the sweet potatoes.
I'm not a sweet potato guy, you know, but everything else was grand.
How was the cooking? Tell me how the cooking was.
Yeah, on a scale about 1 to 10, I would have to say it was about like a 6. I'm just joking. Nah, it was good. It was real good. It was real good.
Yo, I'm happy you're here, man. I'm happy we're in person. You're in the studio. This isn't like an event. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really pulled up, and I appreciate you coming through.
Absolutely.
To do the interview. So for the people who don't know who Ty Brasel is, just tell us who you are, where you from, how you getting into doing music.
Yeah. So well, my name is Ty Brasel. AKA, is that him? No.
I like that.
But yeah, like, basically, you know, like, I grew up around music, like my family, just like where I grew up, everything was like centered around music. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee.
Right.
I grew up in Olive Branch, Mississippi, right where it touches Memphis, Tennessee. Okay. So we call it Mississippi. It's
That's
like
dope.
right where they touch.
I like that.
Yeah, it's a real down south stuff, you know. And so growing up, you know, like, just I was always around music everywhere. I saw it everywhere, and so I just really was into it. And so when I was in high school, that's when I started like freestyling, you know, and just like kind of having fun. And then I realized, like, dang, I kind of enjoyed this. I'm kind of good at it, like. And then when I went to college, my freshman year, that's when I started rapping. I started a group with my friend. We was called the Comfortable Kids.
Okay, that's kind of fly. Comfortable Kids.
Yup. And so
can we still look any of that stuff up online?
You know what I'm saying? Quite possibly, if you do enough research. And so we did that for about a year and a half.
Okay.
And I ended up leaving school to pursue a solo music career. And so yeah, the rest is history.
That's what's up, man. I think me and you first connected right around the time you was in college early.
Yeah.
And then we ended up hanging out in person. I remember me, you, Young Noah, at Flavor Fest. Was it 2015?
2015.
2015.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I've been inspired, I think, by your glow up. You was indie for a minute. I feel like you put in a lot of work. Like, you've been consistently at this for a number of years.
Yeah.
And then it seems like recently, within the last 2 years, you got with 4 Against 5, Joseph P, Dirty Rice, signed over there, and then like everything really blossomed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the stuff that like we all kind of knew behind the scenes are like, yo, Ty's dope. He got crazy melodies. He's a super cool guy. I feel like more of the public got a glimpse into.
Yeah.
What's that process been like to signing to a label, 4 Against 5, under Curb Records, which is a pretty big label? Like, what's that been like for you?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I was independent from 2014 to 2017, so I did like, and that was after I started doing Christian music. So I put in about 3.5, 4 years, independent.
Just independent, grinding on your own.
Yeah. So, you know, I think everything has its challenges. Independent was a fun time, but also a very challenging time, because it's like, you know, it's like you always just like all the money you make, you putting it right back in.
Right.
You reinvesting. So a lot of times you're going to be, you know, broke you know, and so you might be down and out, but you know, you got to keep pushing. And so that was a tough season, but you know, I put in the work, and you know, and God opened some doors. I got connected with 4 Against 5 with Joseph and them, and yeah, like, you know, connecting with them, it was a blessing. It's been great, and so I'm excited, you know, about what God is doing there, and it's made life a lot easier for me in some aspects. And so yeah, I've appreciated it.
I think the interesting part is you were connecting with the label, right? Because people always think like, yeah, I'm gonna drop a joint on SoundCloud, and then I'm gonna blow up and get signed, and then I'm on tour in front of thousands, right? I appreciate that your story was you started the relationship with them, and then y'all were about to sign. You're talking about signing, and then it kind of simmered down a little bit, and then you dropped the indie record, which seems like that's what solidified like finally getting over there. What was that process like? Because I'm sure mentally it had to be tough to, you're like right there, you're trying to get this deal, work with, you know, I feel like Joseph is a pretty iconic dude in our space, you know what I'm saying? What was that like getting there and then having to like, all right, I'm going back to the drawing board, I'm gonna keep grinding. Like, what was that like?
So, you know, just like, man, so connecting with Joseph, like, it was crazy how that happened. We actually met in 2015, so it was just like crazy story. Like, it was a guy that was doing his yard work, and Joseph, you know, he was trying to like evangelize to him, so he was like, hey, y'all want to check out some Christian rap? And he showed it to him. They was like, man, I don't like this, but hey, you need to check out Ty Brasel.
Really?
Yeah. So it was like, and so he went and looked me up then, 2015, connected with me. We started like chopping it up, like growing together. We read through a book. We started reading through The Mortification of Sin. Is that the name?
Really? I've never heard of that book. That's some deep theology book right there.
Like, Joseph came in, you know, like trying to like really help me grow as a believer, as a person.
That's beautiful.
Before the music, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so I always respected him on a different level for that. And so yeah, we grew our relationship, and we got real close to like finishing things up and signing at the end of 2016. And then we just couldn't really get the contract to a point where both parties were satisfied. Well, me. And so
backtrack. I love the fact that you was negotiating.
Right.
Because that means that you had a degree of I guess to some degree a level of confidence in yourself, a level of leverage, you know, and you knew that this is the homie, he's mentored me, he's disciple, we're going through books together, but I'm not just going to jump out the window and sign any old thing that y'all put in front of me. You know what I'm saying? So like, kudos to you for that, and having the patience and the foresight to do that. That's super fly. So y'all going back and forth, and really you are just trying to become more comfortable with the terms.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, like, I felt that I was trying to be wise about where my market value was at the time, and so that I wouldn't be trying to overdo it, you know, but at the same time still get what I felt like I could bring to the table.
Right.
And so yeah, I was just like, all right, well, at the moment, like, it's just not really working out. So I just kind of like just went back to being indie, and I ended up dropping the Young T album in June 2017, and it did good, and it got you know, well received. And so we ended up reconnecting after that album, and then I ended up signing at the end of 2017.
What was that entire process? You said what year did y'all first hook up?
2015.
And you didn't sign the paperwork till 2017?
Yeah, to the end of 2017.
2-year process.
But yeah, about 2.5.
There's people watching this that need to know that it's not an overnight thing. You know what I'm saying? That even in a situation where you have a relationship with somebody at a label and it's dope, it's still not an overnight thing.
Hey, you know, one of my favorite quotes out there, you know, is that it takes years and years to become an overnight success.
That's dope. That's a good quote. So you get signed to 4 Against 5, and you had already had the Young T record out. That's bubbling. That's just organically making noise.
Yeah.
And then what came next? Like, what was that process like? Of like, okay, cool. Now you're on a pretty big label. What's happening now?
So like right around that time is when I connected with KB. So like So actually, like KB found out about me from the record that I put out previously before Young T, which was called 1994 Until. It was an EP I put out.
That joint was hard, by the way. I feel like you had some boom bap hip hop stuff on there that was like
man.
cold.
Appreciate that. Yeah, so he found out about me then. We connected, and then so at the end of 2017, right before I signed, is when he asked, or like right around the time that I was signing, he asked me to go on the tour with him and Trip Lee, the home team tour, and so that was exciting.
That was a pretty big tour. I feel like that was a pretty big monumental moment for you.
Yeah, that was that was real big. That was fun. It was exciting to be around those guys, not just for the exposure and the music opportunity, but those guys are wise. The way that they think is just on a different level. And they're always considering, not just the music side of things, but they're always considering, what God thinks or what He says about something, and so being able to look through those lenses, like, and just learn from guys like that, that was monumental for me, whoop de whoop, so that was
whoop de whoop,
like
the whoop de whoop.
That was exciting. Yeah, that was fun, man. That was my first time like touring with like a tour bus.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So that was like real great experience for me, and it started to open up more doors. But that also set the stage, because right after I came off of that tour, I dropped my first single with the label, Praying Hands, which has been like my most successful, commercially successful song to date. And so, like,
So you come out guns blazing. You sign, you hop on a tour with KB,
right?
Boom, you drop one of the most commercially successful joints you did out the gate.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it was just like, because of all the groundwork and the foundation that was laid the previous few years, just from like, because I also, I did a tour with Thizzle and Jay Givens and Jay Monty.
Yeah, I remember that tour. That was dope.
The previous year, before that, I did like a small tour with me and Aaron Cole. I dropped Cloud9 Raps 1994 Until Young T. So I dropped 3 projects. I did 3 tours. I did a lot of like one-off shows, like just trying like consistently laying the groundwork, step by step. And so to some people it may look like it just kind of happened, but it was like, it's all about, just the result of the groundwork and being able to get yourself to a bigger launching pad. You know what I mean? Like growing subscribership on all the different platforms, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Growing the fan base that's with you from your consistency, from following you. And so yeah, like being at that point, it was because of like the launch pad and the foundation that was created.
Right. And I feel like you mentioned something earlier, like in terms of just the practical side of having put out 3 records while you were indie. That's now that you're on a major and you have more visibility, people are discovering that old music, which is still keeping revenue coming into your pocket.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think people underestimate the value of putting out independent music, owning it, and still having that revenue trickle in every month.
Yeah, absolutely. So I put out 3 projects, and the first project was a mixtape, Cloud9 Rap. So I don't receive any revenue from that one. And then I put 2 projects out after that one, EP 1994 Until, and then an album Young T, which I put that out independently. And I get all the revenue from that. But the one that I put out right before that, 1994 Until, it was a complicated situation, and I've never received a penny from that EP because of the management situation that I was in.
Ouch. So go stream the other one. Y'all go stream the other one.
Stream it all. All I'm saying is, just like just be wise about the way that you operate, because yeah.
So shifting gears, you go from a pretty quick bubble up with signing, boom, hopping on a big tour with KB, dropping a Praying Hands single. Then you dropped the first EP right after that, right? Like a couple months after that. Because the artwork is all kind of the same. I like how the artwork all ties into each other.
Yeah.
And then you got to a place where you were considering walking away from it all. How did you get to that space? Like what happened to get you in a space where you were really considering like quitting music and just falling back?
Yeah, I think I got to that place multiple times, but it was probably like I got to a place where it was the most serious. So like the summer of 2018. So it was right after I put out my first project with the label, Destined for Greatness Side A. And I created Side B, and I was ready to drop it. But the label was conflicted because they were saying, we want you to go out and tour,
Right.
and we want you to get a manager and get a booking agent, and we want you to take the steps to grow to that next level of your career. But me, I'm at home, battling social anxiety, and so I'm like, I don't want to do shows, I don't want to tour, I just want to drop the music, and maybe like I get to the point where I feel more comfortable as I grow, and I can do it more, it take more control of of my situation,
Right.
And so yeah, like that summer, like, it was real tough for me, like I had to completed music, but they were like, I can't drop it. So I'm like, well, I don't want to tour, I don't want to do shows. So I'm like, maybe I'll just, I feel like I've given a lot to this music. I've got a catalog out there that could last forever. I'm like, well, maybe it's time to go. Like maybe my mission is done here. Huh. And so, and that's what was in my mind, but God, he worked on me, and he gave me the strength to overcome. There was this Bible verse that I read. It was Jesus. He was getting ready to go to the cross, and he said, if there be any other way, please take this cup from me now. Like, I'd rather not go down the cross. Like, but he said, nevertheless, not my will, but your will be done. So it's like, I had to follow after my Savior. Like, I have to follow after what he did, And so for me, it wasn't about like what I wanted or what my fears or my struggles were. It was like, what is God calling me to do? And he's calling me to persevere, not just for myself, but to set an example for others. You know what I mean? And so like, I was just like, I'm gonna face this head on. Like, I had some lyrics on this song called Meant for Me on side B that I wrote that song right after this experience. I said, right in the storm, I stood shoulder to shoulder. Looked the mountain in his face, we was boulder to boulder. Looked my angel, she was by my side, noble to noble. Looked to heaven from whence come my help over and over. You know what I mean? So it was like right like in front of the biggest mountain I've ever faced in my life. Like, I stood there and I stood strong and I faced it head on because God gave me this strength, and he sent supernatural help, you know what I mean? And so I just faced it head on. I got a booking agent. I booked my first tour. I did my first headlining tour. I got a manager. You know what I mean? I took the steps that I needed to take to go to that next place in my career. And then God started to unlock and open doors, much bigger doors and different opportunities that I wasn't able to walk into until I overcame my greatest fears. You know what I mean?
That's beautiful. Now, you talked about social anxiety, and there's people watching this right now that are dealing with social anxiety.
Right.
What has helped you? Because I think people don't understand. Like, people will look at someone like you and be like, well, how could he deal with social anxiety? He's popping. He's doing all these things.
They say you signed up for this. That's one of the main things here. Is like, you signed up for this.
Right.
And and at the beginning, I thought it was what I wanted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't.
Yeah, and that's very dismissive, I think, like, to say, like, well, you signed up for this. It's like, well, yeah, you signed up for it, but, like, that doesn't mean that what's happening internally inside of somebody isn't real to them.
Right.
You know what I mean? So how were you able to face that anxiety head on? Was it just as simple as God, or did you go to therapy?
Right.
Like, what did, like, coping mechanisms, like, how were you, because it's tough when you're talking anxiety, but then I got to go in front of a couple hundred people, perform every night, and then I got to go take pictures every night,
right?
And then I got to wait and then if I walk off before I take pictures with everybody, I look like a jerk, right? Like, that's a lot of pressure for somebody that's internally dealing with anxiety,
right?
How were you able to overcome that?
Well, I tried to go to therapy. The situation that I was in, it just didn't really work out for me, but I'm a big fan of, like, therapy, you know what I mean? So I would encourage anybody who's struggling with any mental health issues to definitely try therapy. For me, like, it was a process, you know what I mean? Like, it was just time and me zoning in, like, and really going before God and realizing that I'm not strong enough and that I'm not in control and that I can't control what happens. I can't control my outcome. You know what I mean? And being able to have faith and trust God that no matter what happens, like, that he's good and that it will work out for my good, you know what I mean? So it was a process of like drilling those beliefs into my head and being able to walk that out. And so definitely like reading and worshiping a lot. Like when I get anxious, I'll turn on worship music, you know what I mean? Praying, like, you know what I'm saying? Definitely prayer was a big part, like implementing like prayer when I get anxious, you know what I mean?
Memory verses, Bible memory verses?
Yeah, I started like memorizing verses, also like just to help with like temptation and stuff like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because this is one of the things too, like for people dealing with like guilt, shame, or anxiety from sin, it's like, you know, the Bible tells us to cast off every weight, you know, that's hindering us from running the race. So it's like, you know, me and my brother Jay Monty, you know, we talk about this a lot, how life, like, there's going to be suffering, it's going to be hard times, it's going to be struggles. Like Jesus told us that when you're adding like sin and like you're stuck in and going through issues that you put yourself in, you're adding extra weight and extra struggle on top of the struggle that you already have to go through.
Yeah, that's good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like I was subjecting myself to a lot of the suffering that I was going through by trying to cope with what I was dealing with in my own means.
Right.
And I was adding suffering, adding struggles on top of that. So I was just in this big cloud and just not in a place of clarity and able to really hear God's voice. You know what I mean? And so yeah, man, like definitely like, and I still, you know, I battle like I don't really enjoy living my life in the public eye. Like I don't like putting myself out there all the time like that. Like I'm just chill. I like to stay low key. But I'm embracing like what it takes and what I have to do in order to live out, you know, God's calling for my life.
That's beautiful, man. I think, man, there's a lot there, bro. I appreciate you being so vulnerable, bro, because I think, I don't know how many people know this stuff about you, you know what I'm saying? And how you've been pressing into it unapologetically. And it seems like it's not something that you necessarily conquer, you know what I'm saying? But it's a process in your conquering.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like you're conquering.
Oh yeah, it's a process, man. It never ends. It's a never-ending process. But you grow. Right.
What do you think is a misconception about people who have anxiety? Like people who don't, like I don't have anxiety. Like I don't deal with anxiety like that. You know what I'm saying? What do you think is a misconception that those of us who don't deal with anxiety have about people who struggle with anxiety?
I definitely think that, you know, people may not understand that it's not something that's easily controllable. Like it's not something that when it happens, you just say, like a lot of people may think, oh, well, it's just like, do something about it. Like work through it, get over it. It's like, it doesn't really work that way. You know what I mean? Right. It really is a real mental issue, struggle, battle that takes sometimes medication to offset the chemical imbalances, that sometimes it takes therapy to deal with the tragedies or trauma that has caused these things in people's minds. You know what I mean? There's so many layers to it, so complex. It's you know, and that's what a lot of things in life, like a lot of people see it as black and white, as yes or no, when there's really layers and complexities to everybody's story and everybody's life that causes different, you know, issues for them. Yeah,
that's good. That it's not there's no one size fits all solution.
Absolutely not.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
For some people it could be therapy, for some people it could be exercise, nutrition, might be taking a pill, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a multi-layered thing.
Absolutely.
There's someone watching this right now. They are where you were when you first started taking music seriously. They're you know, freshmen in college. They're just starting out. If you could time travel and speak to Ty Brasel, who's 19, just getting started. Like you can time travel, you could speak to you 5 years ago. Right. What would you say?
I would say, get out.
What you mean?
I would say, I'm just playing, you know.
You say, don't do it. Don't do it. It's not worth it.
I say, bro, just, you know, go be a pastor, man. Sell cars, do something. You know what I'm saying? Don't subject yourself. Nah, I'm totally joking for those of you who are
But there are some people that are probably pursuing music for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
To be famous, to be rich,
Yeah.
and that's as deep as it goes for them. And for those people, they probably should just go be pastors or go
Yeah.
sell something. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
Go join like a tech startup, and they'll
Right.
probably be way more content and happy.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But for the person that has the skill set, has the passion,
Yeah.
they want to do music. You know what I mean? Like, what would you
Yeah.
say to that person?
So for me, when I got started doing music, when I was in college, I was doing mainstream music. I was pursuing it for my own glory, for my own satisfaction, my own benefit. And when I transitioned into doing Christian music, and when I believed that I was called to do it for a bigger purpose than myself, that's when my mindset shifted, which changed my level of commitment to the music for when hard times came. Because for me, it became more about the power, the impact that the words I spoke could have on people. It became about the people more than me. So it's like when I had months where I would go with no money, or when I had months where I would feel like I wasn't making progress, or when I would go through tough times, or having personal struggles or family struggles, and it just looked like the easy way out was just get out of music and just get out and like not have to deal with it anymore. It was the encouragement of the people back to me, like telling me this song did this for me. When you said this, it changed my life. I get, especially now, like I get so many messages from people who say, your music did this, your song did this. Like it's been life changing to me. It's been encouraging. It's been edifying. It's this and that. Like, though that's the currency that fuels and keeps my economy going. You know what I mean? Like, and now I'm trying to get a little bit more serious about trying to prepare myself financially for the future. But for a long time, what was driving me was the people, and honestly just like storing up that eternal currency by sowing into other people's life and like blessing them with the music and with my story, with my experiences, and helping them to work through whatever they're going through with that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. What do you think is the future of this thing we call CHH, Christian hip hop? Like, where do you think this thing is going?
I think that Christian hip hop is necessary. It's so necessary. Like when I decided to get into it, like I just saw around me all the people, what they were listening to. Like that people do not realize how much of an impact the music that they listen to has on their mind and on their on their life. Like whatever you put into you, whether it be music, movies, food, like that's going to manifest outside of you. You put in, it goes out. Like that's just a natural principle. That's
a fact.
You know what I mean? So it's like we need people who are making music that is still speaking to the hearts and minds of people, that's still impacting the culture, that still sounds relevant, that is high quality art, that is done in excellence, but also is that is applying the wisdom of the Bible. You know what I mean? That is applying the principles
and that sounds
God
good.
Gave
that
us.
sounds good. That sounds fly.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And it keeps people from making lifelong decisions that could harm them, that could hurt their future. When you listen to rappers and they're telling you like, man, just pop a Zan, like just go have fun, live your life, like do whatever you want, like do what thou wilt, like make your own decisions. Because what happens when you go out and you have a I don't want to say anything specific, like speak too much to somebody's situation, but all I know is we need CHH, and I believe that for somebody like me, I've decided to embrace it doing Christian hip hop, because I just want to make it cool, and I want to if the music ever goes beyond that, I want to say, Christian hip hop community, the fans, the listeners, these are the people who got me to this position. And there's a lot of other dope artists like myself who do the same thing. Y'all should check them out. They got dope music, but they're also saying some real stuff, speaking to real life issues and helping you to work through life. Yeah.
And you said earlier you feel like the climate of how people are discovering music how much music people are consuming, that it doesn't really, like, that whole like Christian rap is whack stigma isn't really there anymore the way maybe it was 5-10 years ago. People don't really care. Like, if the music's fly, the music's fly.
Yeah, and I think no matter what genre that you dive into, you're gonna find whack music.
That's a
and
fact.
You're gonna find high quality music.
That's
you know
a
what I
fact.
mean? In any genre.
Right.
And so it's like, especially nowadays, the music climate, like, and the way playlisting and streaming works, people are discovering music and they don't know what it's like genre it is. It's like, is this country? Is it pop? Is it hip hop? It's just like, if it's like, oh dang, I like this.
Yep.
If it speaks to them, if it's dope to them, it's like, I like it. I don't know what it's called
Yeah.
or what it is, but I like it.
Yeah.
And so it's like we have
a
a fresh opportunity, a new opportunity to reach a whole different type of people who might not ever listen to Christian music because it's dope.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, and streaming really did change a lot of that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Streaming really did change a lot of that. The discoverability.
Absolutely.
What you got coming up, man? I know you've been cooking. I know that's why one of the reasons why you're in Cali. What's on the horizon? I mean, I feel like you've done a lot. Like, you toured with KB, which is big.
Yeah.
You did Winter Jam.
Right.
You headlined your own tour.
Yeah.
You dropped 2 major label projects. Like,
Right.
what you got in the pipeline?
Well, I have recently, entered a relationship with a young lady.
Hello. He ain't single, ladies. Stop sliding in them DMs.
Yeah, man. It's true. The truth is the truth. That's also one of my favorite quotes.
The truth is the truth.
The truth is the truth.
What you got coming musically?
Well, the reason I mentioned that is because I've been pursuing her, so I've really been investing time away from the music as well now.
Okay.
Like, just like really just spending time with her and like building our relationship. But also like, it's giving me a renewed passion and drive for the music and for my career and to capitalize on everything that I've built so far. So right now, I'm working on a new album.
Dope.
You know what I mean? It's like it's getting there. It's like it's getting close to done. Trying
Dope.
some new things.
Dope.
Sticking with my same producers. Dirty Rice, Juice Bangers, Joseph Perlazny, the Cobra Collective.
Yes.
And they're just crushing it, killing it. We got a crazy chemistry right now. I'm definitely gonna put out some new music soon. I'm also doing some behind the scenes A&R, kind of helping people put their projects together.
Put the A&R hat on. I like that.
Yeah, I enjoy it, man. I enjoy helping people bring, the best out of themselves and stuff. And so I've been doing that. And I'm gonna get back on the road soon.
Okay.
So
we got another solo tour, or are you gonna be on the road with somebody?
Yeah, I'll probably I'm gonna do some one-off shows first, and then I'll probably after I drop my next project, I'll probably put another solo tour together. Dope. For sure. Keep the ball rolling, man.
Dope.
Just
Dope.
keep rolling the ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think one of the misconceptions people have is once you sign to a label that they're gonna do everything for you.
Oh man.
Yeah, and I love the fact that you kept and maintained the indie spirit and the indie hustle in transitioning to booking your own tours, to booking your own shows and just getting after it. You know what I mean? So kudos to you, bro.
Man.
Any final thoughts, closing remarks, anything you want to talk about?
Man, I just want to say that, keep fighting a good fight, and to those of you who do want to do music, you know what I mean? Like, get ready for a journey, but if you really feel called to do it, then give everything you got to it. You know what I'm saying? That rhymed, didn't it?
That did.
See, it just comes off natural sometimes. You know what I mean? But I really mean what I say. You know what I mean? I say what I mean. You see what I mean?
Yes.
But
that's what's up, man.
But yeah, man. Life is good, man. God is amazing. Even if you don't feel him, you don't see him sometimes. I just want y'all to know that I can confidently say through my experiences in my life journey that God is very real and that he does care for us and that he does love us very much and he wants to see us thrive. But sometimes we gotta go through it to get to it. You know what I mean?
Ladies and gentlemen, Ty Brasel, he giving you so much game and so many bars. Make sure you're following him on all social media platforms. Send him some love. We appreciate him. We appreciate 4 Against 5. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to leave a comment. What y'all think, man? Are you in a place where you are dealing with some things? Do you have to go through it to get to it? There's a lot of meat in this interview, man. So make sure y'all leave a comment. Make sure y'all follow Ty Brasel. We appreciate y'all.